Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. You have to have a cool personality. Now, you know what? A constant theme I'm seeing with what other dating coaches are talking about, and this has just been a common theme anyway. How many dudes think that they're not getting a woman because, of course they like money and status, but because of their looks, right? And really, it isn't. Like, yes, looks matter. Yeah, let's just establish that. Yeah, looks don't matter, but they're not the only thing. And it's really not the reason why a lot of these cats are losing out, right? The real reason these cats are losing out because they got fucked up personalities. Yeah, I said it. Because you know what? I saw something on a comment. It was on a random video. And of course, it was yet another dude talking about, the whole looks thing. And somebody said, well, you got to have good conversation with them and everything. And it was like, well, I could talk to him. But you know what? It's deeper than that. It's, conversation and personality. See, people think it's just something like, they can just go up and as long as they got the looks, the woman to put up with any type of personality or something. And it's really not the case. In fact, I got another video coming and talking about that whole looks thing because really, technically, you can still look good and not get any play, right? But, of course, there's a lot of nuances with it, but I'm talking about the personality part with it. And, you got the guys, they just got negative personalities. I mean, you see them a lot in the comments of dating coach videos, disagreeing with a particular coach. And if you really look at how they write and how they talk, it's just negative. It's like, damn. Because, look, if you got looks, I don't care what you look like. You still gotta close the deal with your personality. Women will constantly say they want they meet a guy and he was all right until he opened his mouth. That's a very important thing. Now, just to be clear, in all fairness, you could have a great positive personality and you would still need, something with your physical appearance, your overall look, your style and everything. But we're not going to get too much into that right now, right? They really go both together. And really, a lot of these guys, they just losing out because they just jacked up, Because first of all, even when they inserting themselves into the conversations, which some guys might do on this video, right? It's usually somebody who just a random thing, which I promptly delete anyway. But first of all, that's kind of obnoxious to, if you don't agree with the speaker, you have no obligation to jump in there. And that's part of a personality thing too. See, like really cool people, the cool person, if they don't agree with something, and especially if they ain't a person they usually follow, I see if you usually follow the person and you establish some type of relationship and you express a respectful disagreement. But that's really obnoxious if you don't really follow the person, don't know anything, you automatically say, oh, they're wrong, right? That's kind of obnoxious. That's a negative thing too, right? And just that personality, I'm going to tell you what, with a positive personality, an average looking person, as long as they just not hideous or something, can still get decent women. But it's all about being positive. In fact, it's just like when people talk about fat women or homely women. What do men say? They at least need to be nice. Too bad many of them aren't. But it's the same thing with men. You gotta still at least be positive. If in fact, if people told you that you're physically ugly, like it's like no doubts, like you were prophesized to be ugly. You better have a cool ass personality, positive, learn how to make somebody laugh or something. Because that's where the issue is. Because I said this in one of my other videos, I've known women, they say they actually prefer a dude who's ugly to them. But the dude still gotta have a cool personality, make them laugh, got some positive shit, right? Like, I remember this wedding incident. I was at a friend's wedding. I'll never forget this. And he had one of these dudes. I wouldn't be surprised. He's one to, like, comment on some of these videos. And dude, he was at the wedding, and we at the reception and stuff. Dude just negative. I almost told him shut the fuck up. But I didn't want to start something at my boy's wedding. But he was just totally negative, and he was wondering why he was having trouble getting a woman and stuff. I was like, you got a negative ass personality. Because dude had some other stuff. I mean, it's hard for me to judge another man's looks, but when they start dancing and stuff, that dude had some moves. I was like, shoot, what you complaining about? Oh, as an aside, man, nobody talks about that dance game. But you go to any place and women go crazy if you can dance. You start looking better to them and shit. You might look like a roach to them at first. You bust some moves with some rhythm to it and stuff. Shit, they be rethinking your ugliness and shit. They be like, oh shit, hold up. Well, if I turn my eye a little bit like this or something. But that's a personality thing, man. Like, nobody just wants to be around something negative. Even other dudes, man. Like, let's be real. How many dudes out here listening to this, if they got somebody who hanging around with them and they just totally negative, and they ain't like the flunky of the crew, y'all start shying away from them. In fact, if you meet that type of dude, you listen to him long enough, all of a sudden, you kind of forget to invite him out with y'all. Y'all be like, shit, we going to the club. We don't need that nigga with us. And you be thinking that way too, right? You be thinking that way. And I'm going to tell you what's deep too. Personality really, if you have a cool personality, that enhances whatever you got, right? Because you know what? I also check out the videos of some of these dudes who really complain. Like some of these TFLers and stuff like that. True Force Loneliness and sometimes, some other people like that. Just like, oh, women don't want me and anything. Now, there's a style issue definitely, because a lot of times some cats might have some like jacked up haircuts, right? I'm just being real. There's a style issue, but really every single time it's a personality thing. I can tell. It's like a monotone voice, no expression, no anything to make them more charismatic and more interesting, right? And because if you look at their bone structure, their pure bone structure, good haircut, stylish. Go holler at Kevin Samuels real quick. Learn to tell some jokes or something like that. Shoot, they look as good. Because I'm going to tell you what. I'm gonna give you an example, right? I was checking out some videos today from that. It was a Showtime TV show called Gigolos, right? And I was looking at a couple of those cats, man. And just from if you, like, all of them built and everything, but if you look at them from the neck up and say these were incels, y'all be like, oh yeah, they incels. But these dudes were like muscular and stuff. Alright? So it's not so much the bone structure. It really is the personality. Understand something. The body, let's put it like this. Very few men, you got like, you're only talking maybe a few thousand men on the planet who can get sex from a woman without opening his mouth just on his looks. Like no personality express, nothing, just pure bone structure. And I'm saying literally 1,000. Thousands maybe, out of like 4 billion men on the planet. All right? Very tiny. Every man has to have it. In fact, I think one commenter, I think it was Rollo Tomasi, for people who know who he is, he said what the dudes have, the good-looking dudes have, they also have game. And game is really just for personality. They don't get it just on one thing. All right? Now, I know some people will say, well, they don't even have the looks. Well, that's mean, if you don't have the looks, if you really feel you don't have the looks, that means everything else need to, like, crank it up. I even said that in my book, Nice Guys and Players. That means you really, you better be a funny-ass motherfucker. You better be a cool, stylish ass motherfucker. You need to be positive as shit. And a lot of dudes do that. I've met dudes who were short, like one of the biggest players I've heard of. And I've seen some short players. I've seen some 300-pound players, big man, everything. Facially challenged dudes getting some badass women. But they had cool personalities. Now, I know some people will say, I don't believe that. I need proof. Here's what y'all do. Finish listening to this podcast. Go out to every upscale mall in your area. Hang out a little bit. If you don't have that area, you need to go to a major city. shoot, go hang out around some clubs. Because a big problem, and I probably need to do a separate video on this. A lot of dudes just don't get out. If you get out, you'll see it. I can just bop around my neighborhood and see it normally, like some little petite woman and stuff, and you know, her boyfriend or something. She holding his hand, looking all nice and stuff, looking like Barney Rubble and shit. Be happy, you know, and it'll be like some like 20-year-olds and shit. Because I know some people be like, oh, he must have some money. There ain't too many 20-year-olds making money like that. They working the same minimum wage job you are. So anyway, right? That's it, man. You still got to work on that personality. I don't care whatever else you got, because that other stuff is just that'll just get them over there. But if you can't speak to that woman and make her smile, it means nothing. So anyway, that's it for now. I'll talk to you later. Peace.